1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I've got a little flag saying live on YouTube. Can you confirm that, Olivia?
Yes,
right.
We are.
Okay, we'll make a start then. Good evening, councillors, and good evening to any members of the public who are present at this May 2021 council meeting of Fazeley Town Council. Thank you for attending. We'll commence with apologies for absence and declarations of interest, please, Bob.
Yeah, we've got apologies from Joe and Jean, which we know about. As I mentioned, Jenny is at work, and we've had apologies from Alex and Dawn.
Okay, thank you for that. Any declarations of interest at all, councillors, please?
No.
Right. Well, this May council meeting is the annual council meeting where officers are re-elected for the coming year. So item 1 on the agenda is election of the town mayor. Could I have any proposers for town mayor then, please? And just out of interest, I'm happy to continue for the next year if no one else wishes to apply. Does anyone else present wish to apply for town mayor? And I don't wish to pressure anyone whatsoever. Please, if there is anyone who would like to apply, please let me know. If that is the case, could I have a proposer and a seconder then, please? Unless anyone else wants to put up for the position.
I'm happy to propose you.
Thank you, James. And a seconder, please. Thank you, Sue. And so we have a proposer and a seconder. Could I ask for a vote then, please? All those in favour? Thank you. On that basis, that seems to be carried with no objections. So I'm happy, councillors, thank you for that. I'm happy to carry on for a further year as town mayor, but as I don't wish to stand in the way of anyone else, but as there were no other applicants, thank you for the proposed second and thank you for that vote. So that's item 1, town mayor. Sorry, didn't someone want to say anything? No, okay. Before we continue with the remaining officers, item 2 on the agenda after the election of mayor is the approval as a correct record, the non-confidential minutes of the ordinary meeting, the 12th of April. Councillors, does anyone have any comments or issues with regard to the non-confidential minutes of last month, please? Any points? No? No. If that's the case, could I have a proposer and a seconder then to accept the minutes as a true record of the non-confidential section of last month's meeting, please?
I'll propose.
Thank you, Margaret. And could I have a seconder, please?
I'll happily second. Thank
you, Olivia. In that case, the minutes are accepted as a true record of the meeting of last month. Item 3 on the agenda, going back to the election of officers, is the election of deputy town mayor. Is there anyone who wishes to apply for that position, please? Do I take it, Sue, that from yourself, do I understand you'd be happy to carry on for a further year?
Yes, I'm happy to stay.
Is that correct? Are there anyone else who would like to apply for the position of deputy mayor? In that case, if Sue is happy to continue, I'd like to propose Suebury to carry on in the position of deputy town mayor. Could I have a seconder for that, please? Thank you, James. And again, could I have a vote, please, for the position of Suebury as town mayor, deputy town mayor, I beg your pardon. Thank you. Again, with myself, but mine is the carrying vote. So thank you for that. That's unanimous decision again for Suebury. Thank you very much, Sue, for continuing the position as deputy town mayor for the future year. Again, a unanimous decision. Thank you for that. Item 4 on the agenda then is the election of town council leader. Now, last year it was Alex Farrell who did a good job as town council leader. Alex isn't present with us today. Could I have nominees for the election of council leader, please?
Yeah, I'd like to nominate myself.
Thank you, James. Anyone else interested in leader of the council? No, well, thank you for that, James. Could I have a proposer and a seconder then for James Parton-Hughes as leader of the town council, please?
I'm happy to propose James to take the position. I think it'd be wonderful to have a district councillor also taking the helm of the town council as well. So brilliant, all for it. So I'll propose James.
I second.
Thank you, Olivia, and thank you, Margaret. Again, could we have a vote, please, councillors, in terms of James Parton-Hughes as town council leader? Please, all in favour, aye.
Aye.
And mine is the carrying vote. So unanimous decision again. Thank you and welcome aboard, James. Thank you for applying. You are now town council leader for the next 12 months of Fazeley Town Council. And thank you very much for that. Thank you, councillors. So that completes the first three elements, which is the election of the three main officers of the council. Myself will continue as town mayor. Sue Bree, thank you, will continue as deputy town mayor, and James Parton-Hughes as town council leader. Thank you, James. Now, item 5 is the appointment of town council committees. Now, in the past, there have been separate committees, such as the Works Committee, to name but one. But recently, councillors, we have left all manner of decisions and debates in with the main council. We haven't had for, I think, the last 2 years, or at least this administration, separate town council committees. Clearly, should the need arise, and at this point, I will just say, I'm talking about internal council committees. I'm not talking about things like the neighbourhood plan, which the town council is a part of, but also would include, lay people, residents of the Fazeley town. So we're talking about internal committees here. So, do councillors have any opinions as to whether we should, at this point, elect any of the internal subcommittees at all, or should we carry on until such time as one is required, if at all? Does anyone have an opinion, please?
I'm happy to carry on as we have been doing it. If the need arises, then I think maybe a council could be, or a leader then could be.
Well, we could generate a subcommittee for any specific tasks as and when the need arises.
Is there anything that's pressing that needs to be looked at in the next few months, or?
Other than normal business, I would say not. But does anyone else have an opinion, councillors, on whether we should appoint any council subcommittees at this point?
What Margaret just said, I think we're all right as we are at the moment. We've just had a difficult year anyway, I think, as most councils have had. So I think at the moment, until we can get back into proper face-to-face meetings, we're all right as we are. And like you said, Brian, we can always set any committees up that we need to. So.
Okay.
I think that's right.
Well, if councillors are happy, if the town clerk would like to record, then as with the previous year, at this point in time, we're not appointing any specific other committees or subcommittees of the town council, but should the need arise, we will do so at that time with regard to the town council's committees. So that's item 5. In a similar vein, item 6 is the representation on outside bodies. In the past, we have been involved with organisations, for example, such as Giles Hospice. But again, that need has, in recent years, disappeared. And I don't believe at this stage there are outside bodies which we are closely affiliated to, where we would need a council representation on those bodies. Other than the neighbourhood plan, and I don't know what councillors consider, but I think the town clerk would agree that the neighbourhood planning committee is still evolving at the moment, and maybe should be taken as a separate discussion. Can I have any opinion on that, please, in terms of representation on outside bodies? Does anyone have? Sorry, James.
I think again, it should be on need rather than having it for the sake of it. If there's no need to have it right now, then why would we pursue that?
Okay, well, if that's the general opinion, again, for the sake of the minutes, Mr. Town Clerk, if we just record the fact that representation on outside bodies, there's no immediate requirement unless, you know, we will continue on a needs must basis. Clearly, the neighbourhood plan is something that's stalled recently, and we need to get going again, and that will be considered separately. Any representation of councillors plus laypersons on the neighbourhood plan will be considered as a separate subject. But outside of that, if councillors are happy, we'll do it on a needs must basis. So currently there is no representation on outside bodies. So thank you for that, councillors. That brings us to item 7, annual parish meeting. Could the town clerk just give us a briefing as to the legalities and the timescales on the annual parish meeting, please?
Well, the annual parish meeting, it has to be held by the 1st of June. And as we know, the Zoom meetings are stopping as at the last date for the Zoom meetings is the 6th of June. Now it gets even more complicated because the government regulations state about meetings that they're easing the restrictions on the 17th of May. So we couldn't have one before the 17th of May. And then, of course, there are still restrictions applicable into June as regards to having bubbles of no more than 6, spaced at 2 meters apart. So I think it's coming that my view is we should have it as late as possible. And it's got to be a face-to-face meeting, and in the town hall it'd have to be really well spaced, and also people attending would have to wear masks because that's still applicable. So on a personal note, I think it's very sad that they've stopped the Zoom meetings, but I think we've got to pick a date after the 17th and apply the spacing, the masks. And also, which we have got at the town hall, we've got the appropriate dispensers, a door in, a door out. It would be a pretty controlled public assembly, really.
Okay, I'm just looking at the calendar well as we speak, Bob, thank you for that. In fairness, we do normally, from memory, we do normally have the annual parish meeting right at the end of May, don't we? We do. We normally get in right towards the end.
Mr. Mayor, I didn't check when Whitsun is actually. I'm not sure when that falls.
That's a good point, actually.
Isn't at the end of the month, Whitsun?
It is, yeah.
Yes, well, we're talking of.
I guess on.
Can anybody do a quick check on the on Google or something when Whitsun is? Is that possible?
Oh, I might have it.
Yeah, I'm doing it now. It is the 23rd of May.
Sunday the 23rd, okay.
Is that the last Monday?
That's the last, no, it isn't actually, the 30th is the last Monday.
Okay.
Bob, are you there?
Yeah, I've just grabbed the calendar, complete with...
We've just been told the Whit Sunday is the 23rd, so that is the penultimate Sunday in May, the 30th being the last Sunday in May. So if we had it after that, or as long as we don't clash with that. I mean, my feeling at the moment, we seem to be reasonably happy with this is extraordinary in a way that we're holding a meeting on a Tuesday because yesterday was Bank Holiday Monday. But we normally feel comfortable with Monday meetings. We could make it as late as Monday the 31st. Does anyone have any prior engagements for Monday the 31st that they're aware of, please?
Is that a bank holiday? That's a bank holiday, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Oh dear.
I'm not sure.
No,
It doesn't say on this calendar.
it's.
Bear with me 1 second.
James said it was the 24th, did he?
That was the Whit.
That's
23rd is a Sunday.
yeah, Whit
So would the
Sunday.
Monday be the
Monday's
bank
a bank
holiday?
holiday.
The 24th is a bank holiday.
Yeah.
So,
No, the
Is it?
31st.
oh,
mean,
no,
this
the
calendar-
31st.
This calendar must be printed. It must be a Chinese one because it says the 23rd is Whit Sunday, as you said, James.
Yeah.
And then it goes forward to the 31st. It calls it Spring Bank Holiday UK and Memorial Day USA. Whether that's
Correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
The bank holiday. The
It
bank
is
holiday
the
is the 31st.
oh 31st. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we really, I was going to suggest Monday the 31st, but that's not a good date if it's a bank holiday. Do councillors have a preference for any date on the preceding week from Monday the 24th? I guess that's Whit Monday, but that isn't a holiday as such, is it now?
No, I
because
don't know.
because the spring bank holiday supersedes that. So any date from the 25th to the 28th?
I think Monday's best.
We,
Can we not? We can have the Monday.
yes, we could have it on
On
the
the 24th.
24th. Do councillors, any councillors have any prior engagements for the 24th at all? Should we pencil in then, councillors, if we're happy, and this would be okay because it's a week after the 17th, Bob, when the rules change. Would we go for Monday the 24th as the annual parish meeting? Okay, could I have a show of hands on that, please? Okay, let's put that in then, Bob, please, that we will nominate the 24th, Monday the 24th, for the annual parish meeting. And you're now saying that will have to be a socially distanced physical meeting in the town hall.
Yeah. Where I get that from is that I inquired with the Parish Councils Association. In fact, they went even further. You've got to have an assembly. The law states, the Local Government Act. But they were saying they were actually openly discouraging having meetings for the next couple of months, actually. But they weren't saying don't, but they were openly trying to discourage due to the easing of regulations and that sort of thing.
We'll have to try and control that. We've no idea what the attendance is likely to be. We'll have to control that as best we can because, I think a lot of us are still fairly nervous about face-to-face meetings, especially us of the older generation. But let's put that in provisionally and we can then publicise that. I would recommend, James, if you're happy with that, the normal, I think, routine is that on the front table would be myself and Bob, yourself as leader, Sue, if you wish to attend, also on the front table as deputy mayor, we're more than happy to have you. But generally, it would be the leader, the town mayor, and the town clerk at the front. But we would strongly request and invite all councillors, obviously, to be part of the audience because they could help with any questions that come up by members of the public.
Is it worth me contacting Barry Gwilt as well for this?
By all means, yes, please. I think we'd be happy if Barry, as your colleague on the district, indeed, if Barry's available, that's a good idea. Okay. A good idea. I would have to do a brief report on the activities of the year, which I think this year is going to be very, very brief. And then we will just take questions as a public meeting, questions from any residents who attend. Okay, if we're happy on that date then, yes. Councillors, does anyone have any other comments to make or questions with regard to the annual parish assembly? Okay. If that's the case, we'll put that date in our diaries and in the minutes then, Monday the 24th. And we'll talk again about the details between us, the details of that meeting at a later date. So that's item 7, annual parish meeting. Right, reverting to more normal business, and thank you for your tolerance on that, councillors. Item 8 this month is now progress report and actions, please, Bob.
Yeah, as regards the neighbourhood plan, I've been in touch with Kirkwells and spoke to Louise Kirkup. You remember the lady we met? I've also submitted a grant application because the years run strictly April to March, and the current tranche of funding of £10,000. I've submitted an application for that. Hopefully we'll have a result within about 10 to 14 days. And also this year there's a second tranche that can be applied for, whereby I wasn't aware of this previously, where you can apply for a further £8,000 for help from designated neighbourhood plan experts. You can't pick them, locality pick them, and they do the work for you. So I've kick-started that again, and my next stage is to contact a couple of the people who were going to be originally on it. I think we'll have some people who will fall by the wayside, but I'm sure that I've got a reserve list, so I'm sure we'll be okay on that. So Louise, I've agreed with Louise, once we hear a bit of a feedback from locality, we'll have a Zoom meeting, because it's ideal for having a chat to Louise about the neighbourhood plan.
Okay. In terms of members, outside members, have you any success with that, Bob, in terms of additional residents as members of
I did make a tentative approach to the Tolson's, the lady at the Tolson's Mill administration, who we'd spoken to before. I couldn't get her, actually. I left a message with her mother, who said, I think it was her mother, actually. I think she said that she thought that she would be interested again. I have had a crazy idea about asking Onka from Sandus as well, as a business representative. Mm-hmm. So I think we'll be well covered from that aspect. Remember, there was a gentleman on there called David Litchfield. So
yes.
I haven't been to see David, but I'm going to inquire with him next. But certainly, I think we'll be able to rebuild a small team. I don't think we want one too big, actually, because once it gets too big, you can't manage it. But and then if we can have council representation on it, I think that'll be we'll crack it.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, if we can get further residents, because we've really stalled on the. I know it's been difficult during COVID, and I know Louise from Kirkwells has done good work for us so far. And I appreciate the fact that you're trying to move forward with funding, Bob. But in terms of activities, we've really stalled a little bit over the last 6 to 12 months. I am concerned, though, about the chairmanship. Jenny's obviously still part of the council. We've not seen her for a few months, and she's put her apologies in today. I'm wondering whether she would be amenable to standing down and someone else in her place as the councillor chairing that subcommittee. Can I ask councillors, does anyone have aspirations to chair that meeting? I mean, it will not be me. I think I'm obliged to sit on that, and I would sit on that as a participant, but I would not chair that meeting. Could I have any opinions from councillors who will be willing to possibly chair this meeting, please?
Hi, Brian. I would be more than happy to take over chairmanship of that committee if it's necessary.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Olivia. I appreciate that. I'm just wondering the way forward. James, as one of your first activities as leader, would you be willing to email Jenny and contact her and just ask her her intentions in this respect, and basically say if she's not able to fulfil that obligation, she'll be obliged to stand down and be replaced. But I think because she's still obviously a member of the council, we ought to at least contact her and just get her position. Would you be happy to do that, James?
Yes. I would need her email address if that could be provided.
Yeah, I think you'll probably find it on
we were on the mailing list.
Bob circulates when Bob circulates the agenda and minutes. Yeah. You should be able to pick it off that, but if you haven't,
I will be able to. Yeah, you're right.
If in your new capacity you could contact Jenny, please, and just ask her intentions. But I think we need to be quite blunt that if she's unable to attend, that she'll have to stand down. Okay, thank you for that. And Olivia, thank you for the offer. Once the situation with Jenny is clarified, we'll confirm your position then, hopefully. I'm not sure whether Olivia's there at the minute. Okay, well, thank you. That's the neighbourhood plan, Bob. Sorry, carry on with
Yeah,
the. Right.
I did try to, you remember with the additional notice board, Anka is going to put up a couple of posts to put the notice board on, and I've given him the sizes and etc. I've given him a photograph actually, and
Right.
I rang him today and I couldn't get him because he's ill in bed, so I got snookered there. On the other one, the painting, I've had a couple of firms down there, and I think I'm going to get a bit of a shock on this because when we go back 2 years, we'd ask these sort of painters to give quotes, and I think they, in this day of health and safety, I think we were looking at it wrongly, because it's evident that to paint the front of the town hall, that's the side that's facing onto the garage, we'd have to put scaffolding up there, which of course puts the cost up. So I think the quotes we had when we first looked at this, remember we got stalled on this because the seasons changed, and then of course COVID came along. But I've had 2 firms down there, and they both said straight away, scaffolding, I'll have to go up there because of the public footpath, especially going down the side of the building.
Yeah.
So stand by for the quotes to see what they come back like. So, but where I'm thinking of, Mr. Mayor, is if you look at the woodwork around the eaves around the town hall, there's quite a bit of it's rotten now, and I think whereas it was going to be a big job, it's going to be a bigger job. But if we leave it much longer, it'll be even a bigger job. So I'm hoping that we can get this sorted to get it done this summer, and I think it's going to cost us more money than what we planned.
Okay, well, certainly, we've the town hall has to be kept in good repair. It's a historic building. It's a useful building in the community. We mustn't let it go to rack and ruin. So if we have to replace woodwork, I agree with you. Let's get the quotations. And I accept as well, also, when we have the roof done, whenever we have anything done on the frontage, I think for safety above the pavement, we'd have to have scaffolding, wouldn't we? So yeah. I think we have to bite the bullet on that. But let's see what the competitive prices are in that respect. But if we need to replace, soffits and woodwork, etc., we shouldn't plaster over the cracks. We should get things replaced and painted to keep the building in good repair.
Yep, proper job done, I think.
Yeah. But anyway, you carry on with getting the quotes ASAP,
yep.
Please, Bob.
Okay, the rest I've got is under Clark's report. So,
okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. Then on progress report and actions, item 9, town mayor's announcements. I have no announcements for this month, other than to thank councillors for applying for the new officer posts, which we've just agreed. But there's been no civic activities at all, so no announcements in that respect. Item 10, Town Council's Constitution and Policies. Back at the beginning of the last administration in 2015, we spent the best part of a year going through every policy document we had and updating it, and it was a long-winded process. And I think that has stood us in good stead, having taken the best part of 12 months to get those policies updated. Since then, we've passed them without further amendment each year. But I think at the moment, it's a good idea that the constitution and policies are available on the web, aren't they, Bob?
I believe so. I believe they have been put there. Yes, Mr. Bowden.
I think we just need to bring this up on at least the next 1 or 2 meetings, and if councillors could review, please. I mean, it's a bit of a grey reading, I know, but if councillors could take the time to just review the constitution and policies that we have documented, can we just revisit this next month, please? If you could just take the time to look at those documents, could we revisit it? It may well be that we're happy to pass them again and agree them without further amendment. But, we do need to ensure that they are fit for purpose with any changes in legislation that occur. And, COVID was something that nobody had thought of a couple of years ago. We just need to make sure that they are fit for purpose for the, the world as it currently is. So I don't think we should just pass them willy-nilly and accept them this time. If councillors could review and we'll bring it up next month, please, unless anyone has any comments to that. Are councillors happy with that? Any comments, please?
No.
Okay, can we do that then, Bob? We'll just revisit this next month if councillors can review policies in the meantime. So it's item 10 for next month. That brings us to item 11, questions for the town mayor, the deputy mayor or town clerk, understanding order 11. Have we received any written questions at all, Bob, to this?
No, Mr. Mayor, no written questions, no verbal questions either, so nothing at all.
Okay, so item 11, there's no activity on item 11, which brings us for your continuation, please, Bob, under item 12, clerk's report. Okay,
just a few things to report and mention. I did, actually I missed police off the agenda, and I did speak to Maggie Griffiths regarding anything that was happening in the parish. The only thing she said was recently there's been quite a bit of agitation regarding HS2. And do you know what? They've been doing quite a lot of tests along the road from the Mercedes garage and then down towards Hints. And I think there's a lane, is there called, is it Bangley Lane?
Yes,
Bangley
Lane. Yeah.
Particularly in the area of Bangley Lane, and residents evidently descended on these contractors because they thought they were going to remove hedges and trees with the birds nesting. So the police were called and everything was calmed down, but evidently the people living near that area are monitoring the fact that HS2 people are testing the location. So that's the only thing that's happened, and the police, they had liaison officers and this sort of thing down there to calm the situation down.
Okay.
At the last meeting, I mentioned that the town mayor had agreed we could get a Legionella risk assessment and tests done. We've had the risk assessment, but we haven't had the test results as yet. So that's outstanding. It's ongoing. So that one is outstanding. Just remind councillors that the election, as Olivia's gone off to get the booths, the election at the other end of the parish is at the town hall on Thursday. And in fact, the election staff are in the town hall as we speak because they're laying out tables, putting up signage and getting it ready, because there's nobody in the town hall tomorrow. And it was to help them. They asked if they could get down there tonight to get it ready for the election. So they are working in there as we speak. And also, as regards to use of the hall, Slimming World has started back in the town hall, and we're getting requests on other organisations. And I've sort of come to the conclusion I'll ring them all and find out what their thoughts are. But we've still got these restrictions in place, which are going to go on for a bit of time. So it's a matter of working around these restrictions. I don't mean avoiding them, but I mean working to the restrictions that the government have laid down. So Slimming World is back there, and we're getting inquiries from our users and new ones actually, because Dostal Guides rang me today. They can't use Dostal School because of building work, and they want to find somewhere for about 2 to 3 months. So we're going to try and get them in if possible. Believe it or not, it's a group at Dostal. There's 50 guides members, and I've mentioned the rental charges and mentioned the limitations. And actually, on the internet, the guides have got some strict restrictions as regards to how guide meetings should be run. And in fact, my youngest son's partner is a guide leader, and she's updated me on that. But whether anything comes from that inquiry, I don't know. Regarding other things that have happened, what I've been in touch with, we've got Millhouse opposite the town hall, and I would do a bit of a sales pitch here for the developers of the Tolson's Mill. I spoke to Simon Dawson, one of the guys involved there, one of the directors, I believe, and he told me today that of the 51 apartments, 34 are already sold. And he informed me that Alex has bought one. So I was going to ask him tonight if that was true, but he tells me Alex has bought one. So I've arranged with Simon, because I'd like to have a look around there, for a week today. That's next Monday. He's going to meet us on site at 9:30 p.m. a.m. That was a mistake.
It's
Not
too dark, Bob.
a.m. That was today's deliberate mistake. At 9:30 a.m. He's very health and safety conscious. So ironically, I don't know whether Jo has got psychic powers. She actually texted me today and said, is there any news about a meeting? And I did tell her, yeah, next Monday, and she wants to go. So I think that's a delicate one we've got to deal with, because Simon told me, with so many people working there and the machinery there, he is conscious of health and safety. So, but anyway, I was hoping, Mr. Mayor, you'd agree to come on a week today.
I'll check my diary, but yes, I mean, I'd love to attend. As I said in principle a few weeks ago, once he has a date for us, I would certainly like to attend that meeting with you and any other councillors who can make
any other councillors,
time and date I just get the lowdown, particularly on the timescale for Mill House, getting that safely removed and eventually replaced, but not exclusively Mill House. So yes, thank you for that. So that's 9:30 a.m. next Monday.
Yeah, I think
just to confirm as well, Alex has definitely brought a flat, so I imagine he could be quite interested as well if we can get that meeting time and date over to him.
Yeah,
I'll let Alex know.
Certainly.
I know that, as I say, Simon said to me today that Barstow Eaves have sold 34. There's only 17 apartments left. All the 3 bedrooms have gone and the top floor's gone. So I don't know the analysis of which ones are left, but he says they've had a lot of interest in them. And it's about time too. The only negative thing is I've just got this inkling that another company owns the Mill House. So Simon's squad own the mill, Tolson's Mill, but I've got a feeling that it's been sub-split, that site has. So that's one of the questions I want to ask Simon is, who actually owns that Mill House? Is it yourself or is it another company? I've got a suspicion it's another company. So see what he says anyway.
Well, I mean, I'm very encouraged because the street scene of Fazeley will improve remarkably when presumably and hopefully the Mill House comes down and is replaced with the contemporary building we saw on the plans. And obviously the mill needs to be preserved, and the fact that it's being made into luxury flats is excellent. I mean, it should be a good boost to Fazeley, not only the street scene, but Fazeley as a whole, because that's a lovely ancient building that obviously has a preservation order on it. It needs to be preserved and reused. So that's good news that at long last, there's some work going ahead. So I'm keen to talk to them with you next week, Bob.
Okay, good. So on the clerk's report, last couple of things is all these risk assessments are sorted. The fire risk assessment is set up. I haven't had that one yet, and I haven't had an invoice. The Legionella, I've got the risk assessment, but not the results of the tests. The fire alarm has been approved, and I've got an invoice to pay for the checking of it tonight. Emergency lighting has been approved, and they finished doing the 5-year fixed wiring report, which you are required by law to have. I'm pleased to say that recommendations have been made, but there was nothing that they found that was an alarm bell job, in the sense you've got to do that or else. There was none of that. It was just recommendations that you could do this or you could do that. And I remind you, Mr. Mayor, we did go down there with another electrician, and he was telling us we got to do wiring here and wiring there. And what they've said to me is, no, there's no rewiring needed at all. So I remember us going down there, and there were a couple of alarm bells ringing when we were told that. I don't know whether you recall that, Mr. Mayor.
I do, some while ago. Can I just ask very quickly, what company's done the fixed wiring report?
It's a company called E.H. Humphreys, the ones that, did that repair at the youth annex.
Yes, yes. Independently, not in this meeting, I'd like to see what their recommendations are. There's nothing that's mandatory, clearly, from what you said, but I would be interested in looking at their recommendations. But I'm glad that you've got that under your belt, because we were a bit worried about that.
Yeah, I was as well. Especially bear in mind, I mean, as you pointed out earlier about policies, these risk assessments, I must admit, I was totally out of sync on that one, but they are so important if you're responsible for a building. So
absolutely, we're a public building, we have to have these, and they've got to be in line and up to date.
Yep. Finally, the mugger, where they kicked out some panels, I did check with our handyman, and the panels will be welded back in this week. So that one's on the go as well, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
And that's it.
So that's it for item 12, Clerk's report.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Any questions, councillors, on the Clerk's report at all?
No.
Okay, if councillors are happy, county and district councillor report, sorry, item 13. Anything received, Bob?
Nothing from Alan, no.
Okay. James, is there anything that you'd like to say in your wearing your other hat as district councillor? Anything that you've been involved in with Lichfield that's worthy of mention at all, please?
No, nothing going on at the moment.
Could I ask James, you know, there's no rumblings about this local plan or amendments to this local plan?
We're waiting on the county council to do the traffic checks. But obviously they can't do that until there's a representative number of people out on the roads traveling around that area. So I think that'll be done either in June or July. It might be the end of June, start of July. And that way the council can get a better picture. I had some productive meetings with Councillor Eady, and he hasn't ruled out changing the number of houses built, but they need to see what these traffic controls look like first. There needs to be sufficient grounds, basically.
Not too clear here. So what you're saying is that County Council traffic report, their assessment of the traffic and assessment of future traffic, is that what we're saying would possibly dictate a variation to this local plan?
Yeah, so if the roads are too busy, then they'd have to make changes to the plan as is, whether that be infrastructure or the provision of houses. But we need to wait on that first.
And that's likely to be June, July time, you understand?
June, July, yeah.
Okay, well, if you can keep a watching brief on that, please.
The district council were of the opinion that they wanted it to be done sooner. But I pushed back on that because I didn't think it was very representative to have the report done in April or May when the traffic levels might not be what they will be in the future.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Okay. All right, well, thanks for that update. But yes, please keep a watching brief on that and keep us updated. That's a good point. Okay, so in that case, we'll move on then in terms of nothing else then, Bob, in terms of county and district reports.
No.
Okay, well, thanks for at least we get that good update from yourself, James. Thank you. 14, item 14, planning then, please, Bob.
Yeah, we've got some planning applications. The first one is 14 Reindeer Road, Fazeley. Erection of a 2-storey side and rear extension to include new dormers within the first floor rear roof extension. That's for a Mrs. L. Bishop. That's an extension. Then we've got another one, 399 Watling Street, Mile Oak, for a Mr. P. Collins. That's a first story rear extension. And then we've got Tolson's Mill, which we're talking about earlier. And what it is, it's listed building consent and a full application for construction of a stair tower and link on the eastern elevation of Tolson's Mill. So certainly, if you wanted to have a property where you keep fit, you'd have an apartment on the top floor, because there isn't a lift in this building, it's all stairs. So you've got to be pretty fit to keep going up and down there. So say you left part of your shopping in the boot of your car, you've got to run down and get it and go back up. So when we see Simon next week, I'll say to him, Simon, how come you didn't have a lift put in? Because, if I was on the top floor, it'd kill me. But that's what it is. A construction of a stair tower and link on the eastern elevation. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And that's the planning, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, do councillors have any comments or questions on any of those plans at all? I mean, I guess normally if we were meeting face to face, you'd be circulating hard copies around the table, but clearly, as long as we've got internet access, we can review those plans that you've just talked about at any time with LDC. But if there are no comments or questions in relation to those plans, thank you, Bob, for those. We'll move to item 15, correspondence, please.
Yep. We've had standard communication from LDC regarding the election on the 6th. Have your say, but don't forget your mask, when going to vote. Lichfield District Council have updated their forward plan for May 21. So that's available on the internet. Then we've had some very good information actually for us, because an explanatory email regarding restart grants, which I'm studying, or I've studied with interest. And we have also had a remittance advice from Lichfield District Council confirming that on the 12th of April, our precept was paid into our bank account. So we've had
Thank
that. And then a circular from LDC advertising the Lichfield Community Lottery, and it celebrates its first draw. 27 winners scooped over £500 worth of prizes. So that's a new venture. Finally, again Lichfield District Council, and they are advertising save the date for the Great British Spring Clean, which is the 28th of May to the 13th of June. We can provide litter pickers, bin bags, and arrange for any waste to be collected. So I was going to ask on this one whether we should have a bit of a purge. I'll have a look around. For example, Mr. Mayor, we've got Paul, who is doing a great job tidying up around the town hall, and see if there's any hotspots which perhaps Karen and Paul could focus on and clear any litter that was spotted, and we could ask them for a couple of spare litter pickers and get a stock of bin bags that we could use. So I don't know. I mean, as I'm travelling around, if I spot any hotspots, I'll certainly arrange for them to be focused on. If you agree, Mr. Mayor.
Absolutely, Bob. Absolutely.
I mean, there's always, a normal visit up on Milo Recreation Ground, is 2 to 3 bags of rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
And that's with LDC going around as well. And also Lichfield District Council, I don't know whether James has met the new interim chief executive, and as an appointment of Mr. Tony McGovern as interim chief executive of LDC as from the 1st of June. That's an official communication. And then we've got Staffordshire County Council. They have sent out quite a few newsletters regarding, they're trying to generate people back to the libraries, you know, interest in the libraries and getting back to the libraries and using the libraries as they were pre-COVID, you know, a kickstart campaign. We've had our bulletin of Staffordshire Parish Councils Association, which has got a couple of subjects on. They don't really, well, it doesn't really affect us, which is rural broadband consultation, and NALC calls on the government to prioritise standards within local government. And that's it, actually. Only other thing was to mention was that we did have some communication. Actually, Alex was very good bringing it up about the signage at the rear of Victory Terrace being conflicting. And I've had our handyman remove the signage, so was going to review that with the town mayor over the next couple of weeks to see which would be the best replacement. It's all to do with dog walkers and dog fouling. I think the best thing is to limit our signs to no dog fouling, which is what Alex suggested.
We'll review that, and I think we can put a revised proposal before councillors before it's reissued and
yep.
and regenerated, shall we say? But yes, it needs to be up to date, and it needs to make sense.
Yep. I mean, this one came in about a week ago, a little bit late actually. It's from the Royal British Legion Industries section, and it's pointing out that VE Day is on the 8th of May, or Remembrance of VE Day is on the 8th of May, which really is end of this week, isn't it? So, and that's it on correspondence, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, well, thank you for that. If councillors have no questions on correspondence, and thanks for that update, Bob, we'll move on to 16, Town Mayor Powers to Act. Anything that's covered this month, Bob?
Well, it was like a house of cards when we got on about the risk assessments we've got to do, and right. You gave me permission, quite rightly, to get on with getting this fixed wiring checked, because we needed this 5-year fixed wiring. So that was something that we couldn't leave, really, and the mayor authorised me to get on with that. And also, I just mentioned about this removal of these banning dogs and dog fouling signs to get it standardised once and for all. So that was all on that. Okay,
thank you. So finally, on the non-confidential part of this meeting, the authorisation of non-confidential payments, please, Bob.
Yeah, there's just the HM Revenue and Customs, PAYE, 728.78.
728.78.
Yep.
Okay. So, councillors, that brings us to the conclusion of the non-confidential section of this meeting. So I must formally request exclusion of the public and press. Just before I do, Olivia, are you there?
Yes, I am here, Brian.
Before you pull the plug, to any members of the public who should be listening, this will be our last Zoom meeting for Fazeley Town Council, because we are obliged, due to legislation, that beyond the 6th of May, that future meetings will be face-to-face in the Town Hall. So our next meeting on the second Monday of June will be back in the Town Hall for the first in about 15 months, I think, since the previous May. So thank you to any members of the public who've wished to listen in on YouTube. But from next month, members of the public who wish to attend will do so in person at the Town Hall. Thank you very much. And Olivia, if you could disconnect the YouTube feed, because we're now going into the